morning. I am doing things a little bit different today. I am just going to leave my panel to myself, and I'm just going to read some cases before I get off to work. This is FBI and Awareness Friday. Thank you guys all for watching here during the live stream, and whoever catches this on the replay, thank you very much. Please hit the like or dislike button and share the content. Florida man charged with sex trafficking multiple women and sexually assaulting a minor in New York. Sad. This is not working for me again. What's up, Backrite? Hello, Blistering Barnacles. Thanks for popping in and saying hi. For immediate release, U.S. Attorney's Office, Northern District of Oklahoma. United States Attorney Clint Johnson today announced the results of the April federal grand jury 2024 A indictments. The following individuals have been charged with violations of United States law and indictments returned by the grand jury. The return of the indictment is a method of informing a defendant of alleged violations of federal law. The return of the indictment is a method of informing the defendant of alleged allegations of violations of federal law, which must be proven in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt to overcome a defendant's presumption of innocence. Jason Wing case, receipt and distribution of child pornography, possession of child pornography. Case 43 of Miami is charged with receiving and distributing images and videos depicting the sexual abuse of children. He is further charged with possessing visual images and videos depicting the sexual abuse of children under 12 years old. The FBI and Miami Police Department are investigating agencies and U.S. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Stephen J. Flynn and Valerie Luster are prosecuting the case. Case number 24-CR-102. Kyle Jackson Fugate. Attempted coercion and enticement of a minor. Fugate, 26, of Owasso, and a member of the... Hang on, I gotta block my laptop. And member of the Osage Nation is charged with knowingly attempting to persuade a minor child to engage in sexual activity in March 2024. The Homeland Security Investigations and Rogers County Sheriff's Office are investigative agencies. Assistant U.S. Attorney Stacey P. Todd is prosecuting the case. You can find more information about this case by looking up 24-CR-101. Osabian Gudo. Felon in possession of a firearm and ammunition. Really don't care. Drug conspiracy. Really don't care. Brandon Earl Presley, sexual abuse of a minor in Indian country. Counts 1 and 6, abusive sexual contact with a minor in Indian country. Counts 2 and 3, production of child pornography. Count 4, possession of child pornography. Count 5. Presley, 29, of Tulsa, and a member of the Muscogee Creek Nation, is charged with knowingly engaging in a sexual act with 2 different minors under 16 years old. He allegedly had abusive sexual contact with one of those minor victims and a third minor victim under 16 years old. Presley also used a third minor victim to engage in sexually explicit conduct with the purpose of producing a visual depiction of such conduct. He is further charged with possessing a visual image depicting the sexual abuse of a child. The Homeland Security Investigations, Tulsa County Sheriff's Department, and the Bixby Police Department are the investigative agencies. Assistant U.S. Attorney Kate Brandon and Valerie Luster are prosecuting the case. You can find more on this case by looking up in the federal courthouse on the FBI website 24-CR-107. Jericho Lee Redell, felon in possession of a firearm and ammunition. Count 1, kidnapping in Indian country. Counts 2, 5, and 8. Assault with dangerous weapon with intent to do bodily harm in Indian country. Counts 3, 6, and 9. Carrying, using, and brandishing firearm during and in relation to a crime of violence. Counts 4 and 7. Redell, 41, of Bartlettsville and a member of the Cherokee Nation, is charged with possessing a firearm and ammunition after previously being convicted of felonies in Washington and Oklahoma County District Courts. He allegedly kidnapped 2 different victims, intentionally assaulted them with a dangerous weapon, and used a firearm in a crime of violence. The FBI, Tulsa Police Department, and Bartlettsville Police Department are investigative agencies. Find more on this case by looking up the case numbers 24-CR-105. Hello, Outback. How are you? Do this real quick. Mr. and Mrs. G2K in chat room. I'm off to bed, nearly 11 p.m. I have a big day tomorrow starting at 6 a.m. Have a great day and night, folks. Please hit the like button. Thank you. What's up, Jeff? It's been a long time no see, my friend. Okay, let's see here. I hate to change this website up. Let's see here. This is not what I'm looking for either. Well, we're just going to have to read some older cases. Yeah, I've been on this crazy schedule up all night and sleep during the day. Just got off work. Well, it's good to see you back here, my friend. Your presence is always welcome. So this case is from January. United States Attorney Clint Johnson announced the result of the January 2024 federal grand jury. The following individuals have been charged with violations. This is pissing me off. Let me see here. Sorry, everybody. This is taking more time than I wanted. Category. Nope. Title. There. Oh, this is making me mad as shit. What's up, Christine? Crow agency man sentenced to more than 5 years in prison for sexually abusing 2 girls in the Crow Indian Reservation. Thursday, April 18th, 2024, for immediate release, U.S. Attorney's Office, District of Montana. Billings, a Crow agency man convicted by a federal jury of sexually abusing 2 girls on the Crow Indian Reservation, was sentenced today to 5 years and 3 months in prison, to be followed by 10 years of supervised release. U.S. Attorney Jesse Laslovich said on the 18th. After a 2-day trial, the jury on December 12th, 2023 found Edwin Irvin Don't Mix, 60, guilty of abusive sexual contact with a child and abusive sexual contact of a minor. The U.S. District Judge Susan P. Waters presided. In court documents and at trial, the government alleged that in January 2015, Jane Doe 2 disclosed to the FBI that Don't Mix touched her vaginal area over her clothes while she was sledding. Jane Doe 2 was 13 years old at the time. Jane Doe 2 also disclosed in the same interview that in 2012 or 2013 she was also asleep and woke up to Don't Mix touching her vaginal area over her clothes. The touching occurred at a Crow agency residence. In October 2021, another child, Jane Doe 1, disclosed to a school counselor that Don't Mix touched her vaginal area over her clothes when she was either 6, 7, or 8 years old, and that the touching happened 3 or 4 times at a Crow agency residence. Assistant U.S. Attorney Lori Harper Sueck prosecuted the case. The FBI Bureau of Indian Affairs conducted an investigation. I do not agree with this case. He should have got more time. He should have been locked up for the rest of his life. April 10th, 2024. Former Lame Deer pastor sentenced to 30 years in prison for sexually abusing children in Northern Cheyenne Indian Reservation. Wednesday, April 10th, 2024, for immediate release, U.S. Attorney's Office, District of Montana. Billings, a former Lame Deer pastor who was convicted in a jury trial of sexually abusing children in the Northern Cheyenne Indian Reservation, was sentenced on the 10th to 30 years in prison to be followed by a lifetime of supervised release. U.S. Attorney Jesse Lashlevich said a federal jury on December 11, 2023 found the defendant Dean Allen Smith, 67, guilty of aggravated sexual abuse, abusive sexual contact by force, and 2 counts of abusive sexual contact by force and of a child. The jury acquitted Smith on one count of abusive sexual contact of a child. U.S. District Susan P. Waters presided. Pastor Smith's prison sentence while significant, does not come close to the lifetime of trauma his victims will have to endure. But I hope knowing that Smith will likely spend the rest of his life in a federal prison gives them some peace of mind that he won't be able to abuse others. Far too often, and unacceptably so, we are unable to obtain justice for children sexually abused in Indian country. But justice was achieved here, and it would not have occurred without the bravery of our victims and the tenacity of our federal partners and prosecutors, for which I am grateful, U.S. Attorney Lashlevich said. This is coming from a lady who just sentenced the other guy to 5 years for molesting 2 children. The government alleged in court documents and at trial that Smith was a pastor of a local church in Lame Deer on the Northern Cheyenne Indian Reservation, and that during his time on the reservation, he and his wife housed several foster children. There you go. And temporarily hosted another child from the community. In approximately 2021 and 2022, 4 girls identified as Jane Does 1, 2, 3, and 4 disclosed being sexually abused by Smith between 2017 and 2020. When they were staying or living at Smith's home, the government alleged that Smith abused each of them separately and in private on multiple occasions. All of the victims were under the age of 12 at the time. The U.S. Attorney's Office prosecuted the case. The FBI conducted the investigation. Why are these all in Montana? Whatever. April 17th, Webster Groves man sentenced to 35 years in prison for producing child pornography. Wednesday, April 17th, 2024, for immediate release. The U.S. Attorney's Office, Eastern District of Missouri, St. Louis, U.S. District Judge Henry V. Autry on Wednesday sentenced a man who recorded his sexual abuse of one preteen girl and sexually abused 2 other children to 35 years in prison. Aaron Pratt, 38, of Webster Groves, Missouri, pleaded guilty in January to 1 count of production of child pornography and 1 count of receiving child pornography. He admitted that he sexually abused a girl for approximately 2 years when she was between the ages of 10 and 12 and recorded the abuse on his cell phone. Pratt admitted sexually abusing 2 other juveniles, ages 7 and 11, at their home in another state. Pratt also admitted possessing over 28,000 images and videos of other minors on various electronic devices. The Webster Grove Police Department and the St. Louis County Police Department, the FBI, and the Hamilton Township, Ohio Police Department investigated the case. Assistant U.S. Attorney Jillian Anderson prosecuted the case. He only got 35 years for 28,000 images. He should have got 28,000 years. I know it seems ridiculous, but that's what I think. So this dude got sentenced to 35 years for production of child pornography of a child he abused, 2 of them, and he also admitted to having over 28,000 images and videos of children being abused. He only got 35 years. St. Charles County man admits child pornography and enticement charges. Friday, April 12th, 2024. For immediate release, U.S. Attorney's Office, Eastern District of Missouri, St. Louis. A man from St. Charles County, Missouri, faces at least 15 years in prison after admitting that he engaged in online sexual activity with 3 teens across the country. Tristan M. Davis, 27, pleaded guilty to all 6 counts that he faced: 3 counts of coercion and enticement of a minor, and 3 counts of receiving child pornography. The investigation began with multiple reports to authorities about Davis. It revealed that Davis had been communicating online with multiple minors in a sexual manner and exchanged pornographic images with them. 3 juvenile victims have been identified fully by law enforcement. Davis initially lied about his age when communicating with a 14-year-old girl in New York State, a 16-year-old in Connecticut, a 16-year-old Connecticut girl, and a 15-year-old Tennessee girl. Davis received child pornography from all 3 victims and induced or persuaded them to engage in sexually explicit conduct with him via social media. Davis used the screen name Muffin Man 130020 with the first 2 victims and Bacon Taxi with the third. Davis is scheduled to be sentenced July 19th. The coercion and enticement of a minor charges carries a mandatory minimum prison sentence of 10 years and a maximum of life. The receiving of child pornography charges carries a term of 5 to 20 years in prison. I hope they hang this mother. Thought I was going to swear right there, didn't y'all? Mm-hmm. Okay, a couple more cases and I got to get out of here. Youth sports coach admits seeking sex with teen. Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. For immediate release, U.S. Attorney's Office, Eastern District of Missouri, St. Louis. A former youth sports coach on Wednesday admitted arranging to have sex with someone he thought was a 13-year-old girl. The girl was really an undercover St. Louis County police detective. Trevor White, 41, of Fenton, Missouri, pleaded guilty in U.S. District Court in St. Louis to attempted coercion and enticement of a minor. He admitted as part of his plea agreement that at 10:33 p.m. on September 24, 2023, he initiated a text message conversation with a 13-year-old girl. White was friends with the girl's parents. White asked for her photo and, in a series of messages about her clothing and their past interactions, sought a positive response from the victim. He ended by sending her a photo of himself shirtless. The victim reported the suspicious conversation to her parents. Very good, girl. You're my hero of the day. The victim reported the suspicious conversation with her parents, who then contacted St. Louis County police detectives. The teen's parents allowed a detective to use her phone, assume her identity, and continue the conversation. Nice. Over several days, White became increasingly sexually explicit and sought to arrange a meeting so they could engage in sex. He also sent 2 explicit photos. On September 29th, St. Louis County detectives arrived at White's home to interview him. White admitted participating in the text conversation, admitted asking the teen for a photograph of herself engaging in sexually explicit conduct, and admitted arranging to pick her up and take her to a park to have sex with her. White is scheduled to be sentenced July 16th. The charge carries a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 years in prison and a maximum of life in prison. I hope they hang him by his testes to the wall as well. St. Charles County man sentenced to 40 years in prison for soliciting sex for minors. Thursday, April 4th, 2024. For immediate release, U.S. Attorney's Office, Eastern District of Missouri, St. Louis, U.S. District Judge Ronnie L. White on Thursday. Sentenced a registered sex offender to 40 years in prison for soliciting sex from 2 minor victims via social media. Thomas J. Bowles, now 48, of St. Charles County, Missouri, repeatedly contacted a female minor on social media from January 1st, 2020 to August 20th, 2020. He offered to become her sugar daddy and offered money, a cell phone, and clothing in exchange for... I really got to hurry. And offered money, a cell phone, and clothing in exchange for sex acts and for providing him pornographic pictures and videos. Bowles also offered to be the sugar daddy to a second minor via Snapchat, and claimed he could mentor her in the modeling industry. In 2020, he met the victim multiple times and gave her cash, liquor, clothing, and prescription drugs in exchange for sexual contact. He also made video recordings of those sex acts on 2 occasions. In a victim impact statement, in a victim impact statement to the court, both victims said Bowles was relentless in his attempts to contact them. He was obsessed with me, and no matter how hard I tried to get rid of him, he would always find another way. The first victim wrote, he contacted her friends, left voicemails, dropped things off at her home, and drive-by. It got to the point where I felt like I was also being watched. I was scared for my life because he knew where I lived and who I hung out with, she wrote, adding that she was in constant fear that he would kidnap or kill her. The second victim says she had left home and was couch hopping and had no way on her own to get back to work. So I was easily persuaded to cave into the nonsense that I was being fed on Snapchat by Thomas. She wrote that she tried to stop. I completely lost myself. I was talked into some crazy stuff that breaks my soul to live with. Bowles used aliases that prevented the victims from discovering that he is a registered sex offender. Both victims told Bowles that they were underage. In court, Assistant U.S. Attorney Gillian Anderson said Bowles initially manipulated and exploited particularly vulnerable children. Bowles pleaded guilty in U.S. District Court in St. Louis in November to 1 count of sex trafficking of a child, 2 counts of coercion and enticement of a minor, 1 count of production of child pornography, and 1 count of receiving child pornography. Well, he got 40 years. So he'll be... what? He was 46, I think is what it said. 48. So he'd be 88 years old by the time he gets out. And with that being said, this is right at a half an hour. I have got to get going. I wasn't even going to do a live today, but I just had to because I'm committed to doing this. And yeah, I appreciate everybody stopping by. I appreciate you guys saying hi. And remember, keep your kids safe. Talk to them real young. Knowledge is power, everybody. Thanks for stopping by.